Hi everyone, I'm Ann Griffin. This is the Product Mind Lab. I am a product leader as well as a product coach, and I talk about a lot of things on the Product Mind Lab from, I'll say, typical product management topics to exploring how AI and product management are actually changing the future of product management. And so today I'm going to talk about a couple things. I'm going to briefly touch on AI and PRDs and some of the controversial takes that I'm hearing around those. And then actually today, I'm finally going to do what I promised and show you actually how I use AI to write Jira tickets. And some of this stuff I actually teach in a workshop I give to companies, specifically product teams at companies, called Building Successful Products with AI, is understanding why you want to use AI or not use AI in specific scenarios and how you use it. Something that has come up again and again is, should we use AI to write PRDs? I've seen people say, write a really bad first draft and then edit it, or you can just use it to write that PRD and then give that to somebody else to help get feedback and refine. I really think that it is actually best to write the PRD yourself. And here's why. And maybe some people just have way better PRD prompts than me. I'm open to that. However, I would say there's enough directionally that I need to change when I have AI start a PRD, even if I give it a lot of context, even if I'm using a Claude project. This is an example project that I have. I don't actually work at Substack, where even if I have a lot of documents here in the library and I have a lot of, great context here in the project instructions, I still find that in the PRD, there are some things where the way it words things, where it's just directionally off enough that I don't like it. And I think or I'll say original alignment with the product strategy is incredibly important. So PRD, it's not the company product strategy itself, but it is the strategy and the focus for a specific feature, a feature set. And the way I like to think about this is, if I'm in New York and I'm telling someone to walk to Montreal and I give them a compass, if the compass I give them is even a few degrees off, by the time that they actually walk the distance it should take to get to Montreal, they're actually going to miss Montreal. And maybe certain navigators are better at figuring out where they need to course correct, but it'd be just so much easier if I point you in the correct direction in the first place. So for PRDs, I actually prefer to still write them myself and then actually use AI to help me find the gaps. So let's say the PRD is written. The thing I do actually like using AI for is writing Jira tickets, and that's what I'm going to show today. I'm also going to share a template that I use to write Jira tickets, and feel free to take it, make it your own. You may like the one I have, may not. I can't show you any of my clients' work, so I have a fake project here. I do not work for Substack. I am not a contractor of Substack. I'm no way affiliated with them, and they do not pay me to do videos for their projects. But so one of the things here in Substack is I actually previously made a design for, I'll say, like NV0, and I don't know if the screen will let me share this. Hopefully it's recording this. I made this dashboard in V0 of a better way of seeing insights in Substack for authors, because I thought, hey, I'm not really getting a lot of insights that are super helpful for me, that are very easy to read without having to kind of dig through the data more in Substack. So I thought, like, hey, let me kind of think through some things that I would want to see on my Substack dashboard. And so today we're actually going to write the ticket for content themes and how this works. And so I'm going to go into here. And one of the things is, granted, as like I always check with the company if they're okay with this, but I always have a project. There's certain key things I have uploaded in the project knowledge. Here I don't have anything because I made this project up in Claude just for this. I also use Claude because I really like its writing for communication. So I don't usually use ChatGPT for writing tickets. I usually use that for better understanding things like technical architecture. I have my project level prompt that explains that I'm an AI product manager, and this is the AI assistant, what it needs to do, and saying, hey, I'm at Substack, and here is where I actually am going to put my prompt. And so give me one moment. Okay, and we're back. So this is going to seem really long, but it's because I have a lot in here. And sorry for the way this is structured. Is that if it's structured so that AI understands it, it's not really designed so it's really neatly outlined for a human. But I explain, you're experienced product manager. This is what you're doing. You're creating these tickets. I explained the ticket structure that I want, and actually there's some things I want to delete in here. Like I no longer want impacts actually because it's actually really bad at adding impacts and notes itself. And so I'm going to delete this because I don't want that in my prompt anymore. And things that I wanted to consider when writing this. One of the things is just being really clear with directions because people take things very literally sometimes, and just trying not to be using too large of words to confuse people. And also just noting that, like, hey, it's not necessarily the same person who's going to work on every ticket related to this. So, don't be afraid to restate how certain things are supposed to work, but just making it really clear how these need to be broken up, or just, I'll say certain directions need to be repeated or broken up. I've tried before where I have it write all the tickets at once. I decided I didn't like that because I realized there's still so much I have to read in each ticket and edit. It gets it mostly right, but I realized I prefer to do one ticket at a time and then review each one rather than do them all and then edit. Because then if I'm doing one ticket at a time, if there's things where I want it to edit first before I then go and edit, then I can work on just that one. So I do tell it to wait on standby. I'm going to give it this, and then I'll show you what happens when I write my first ticket. So it's explained, here it is. It's like, hey, it needs to have a separate copyable title just because, in Jira, it has the title field separate than the body. And so that's something where it gets really annoying. Copy paste is a small little detail I prefer. And then just the structure of the tickets. And now it's ready for me to write this. And I'm going to actually grab the rest of the prompt and an image. Okay, so here you can see I added an image. So this is, and again, this is not actually I did not grab this from Substack. I'm not a PM at Substack. I'm just pretending I made this in V0 myself based on screenshots I had from Substack. And so today I wanted to build out one of these little sections from my prototype. So I was actually able to upload the image, and I said I want to build out this section that is content themes, which is in the upper left-hand corner here. And I just discuss in general how I want this to work. Sometimes I need to write a lot more of this because this is not a real project, and I'm just doing this example, for the internet. This is maybe, not going to be 100% as accurate as maybe I would normally do things, but to give you an idea. And I'm going to hit return, and you're going to see how it actually writes this ticket. And so it didn't do the thing where it put the title in a separate thing, which is fine. Okay. And so here I actually have my ticket where I have a quick summary, create a content theme section, displays top performing content theme, 2 runner-up themes based on frequency, implement overlay views that shows detailed performance data for articles within each theme. And then, I also love using job story format as well. I know some people prefer typical user stories. Whatever works for you and your organization. So it's like when I'm reviewing my publication's performance, I want to see which content themes are most frequent in my writing so I can understand what topics I'm consistently covering and how they perform. And here, actually, this is another thing I need to delete from the prompt because originally I thought this was going to be a good idea, but it's actually really bad at telling me where the locations should be, because here it's just, here it actually worked out pretty well because yes, it's in this dashboard. And then it's like, hey, the secondary location would be the theme details overlay module, but it wouldn't really know unless I told it or give it a lot more context where else this type of information might need to be, or maybe it might not be anywhere else. Users, pretty accurate, publication owners / authors, acceptance criteria. So it goes into the things about the card. I'm trying to see anything else that's worth. Yep, it talks about how each theme should be clickable, tappable. And then only thing here is I would probably call out to it that okay, then what happens when I click or tap on it? I told it in the directions, but I would have to call that out to it just so it's really explicitly clear. And then it talks about this overlay, which it doesn't actually have a design for, but it made a lot of assumptions. But it took kind of what I detailed out in the prompt in terms of how this should work, which is actually, it does get into when the themes click or tapped, but to me, this belongs here. This is like my own little level of detail where I'm like, no, it belongs here. But everything else is actually relatively accurate. And some things, again, I'll go through here and I'm like, oh, that doesn't really make sense. Or you can delete it. And even things here where it's like the overlays should also be dismissible using the escape key. That's pretty common. I didn't even tell it that, but it knew that. And it also kind of gets into some of the interactions like dimming, when you have the overlay background, even though I didn't provide it any design. So you kind of have to also look at what assumptions it's making. This makes sense to me, but if I had a design from a designer and that's not what we did, I would want to verify that. I'm trying to see anything else. Yeah, I would probably really review these data requirements because it starts talking about real-time updates, and that's cool, but that might not be how the product actually works. And then just looking at error states. So it's just, especially starting from a blank page, problem in Jira tickets, this is a nice way to speed that up and then just editing where it makes sense. And so usually I'll do this one by one. So I would write a new prompt, upload a new screenshot for the next one, and then write the next ticket when I'm ready to. So I hope this is helpful to you. And I will just say PRD versus Jira tickets, anything that you are doing where you need a pretty accurate direction in terms of strategy, I would say it makes sense for you to write that first and then get feedback. Anything where it's, hey, this is really just communicating details that we already have and we can share an image along with some directional detail, that's pretty okay to let AI take a lot of the lead there, but you still have to read every single ticket because it will say things that do not make sense and your developers will be confused. So what else is going on? Jumpstart Your AI Career is back on February 24th. I hope to see you there. And also, if you or your team is interested in the workshop Building Successful Products with AI, please reach out to me. At this time, it's only available to organizations to provide to their product teams, but reach out if you're interested and want to learn more. Thank you again for tuning into the Product Mind Lab. Next week, we're going to have another special guest on the Substack. I was going to say podcast. This is not a podcast. And I'm super excited because we're going to be talking about building products that are AI first and I'll say the challenges of doing that. It also actually tapping more into leveraging AI in a context where there's a lot of decision making and how that impacts things. So I'll see you on the next Product Mind Lab. Thank you. Bye.